In real estate, it's good to know your resources, what's relevant and what's real. Here it is, the Real Estate Buzz with Roseann Rogers.
And here she is, Roseann Rogers. Roseann, welcome.
Hi, Bill. How's it going today?
It is great, and we always want to know what the buzz is, especially the real estate buzz. Let's tell us.
It's spring. And spring brings open houses. This is the perfect time in real estate. It's the most exciting time in real estate. I think everyone's energized because spring is here, and there's nothing quite like going to some open houses when the weather is so incredibly beautiful. And let's capitalize it on everybody because we have California weather, and we're not going to have it for long.
That is correct. And we're refreshed, we're excited, and spring is a fantastic time of the year. It is all, and in the real estate world, as you're mentioning, it is just tremendous. And we're going to hear all about that today. What are the things when you, and everybody loves an open house, even when we're not shopping for a home, it's just fun to go.
I go all the time. So does our team. Our business development officers go to open houses all the time. And, you know, what we do is real estate and relationships. And the best way to get to know some of the realtors, maybe that you haven't seen in a long time, or ones that you've never met before, is really get to know them through their open houses. And it's wonderful to see how much knowledge a realtor has when they're representing someone's home. It takes pride, joy, and most of all, passion. It's passion. I was just at 3 open houses this past week, and wow, did I run into some people I hadn't run into in such a long time. I used to be with John Doherty Realtors as a manager, and I ran into realtors that I hadn't seen in a couple of years. And it was great to catch up with them, to find out what's going on with them, what they've been doing with their business, and also to go into an amazing property. And I always say everything is a fine property. I mean, everyone has different tastes. I don't ever say, people say, it's the luxury market. It has to be $1 million plus to go to an open house. So not true. So not true. It can be a house that's 1,200 square feet, maybe even less, or it could be 12,000 square feet. And I always say, everyone remembers Martha Turner on television when she said from 20,000 to 20 million. Remember that?
That is right. I remember that.
And that stuck with me for years because it's so true, because everything to me in our business at Stewart Title, everything is a fine property. Everyone has different tastes, different likes, different ways of lifestyle. And it's not always about the square footage. It's how you use the square footage.
In fact, I don't know the exact quote, but it makes me think of the idea of our home is our castle. No matter where it is, it could be a teepee. Who knows? The other thing I'm thinking about, when we think about the open house and our roles, realtors, people that visit open houses, business development people, whatever we do, we are ambassadors for a company as we represent that company. But if we're the realtor and we're at an open house, we're an ambassador for that particular open house. We're telling people about the home, about the neighborhood, and all the things that go with it.
I think it's so important not only to get to know the people that are inside of, right, as far as do the open house, the realtor itself, the people that are also there. A lot of times there are assistants that are there as well. When you have an open house, sometimes people have, 3 and 4 a day. Obviously, one person can't make the rounds, but you have representatives that do that, and it's great to get to know them as well. It's also great ideas. You're right. Maybe you're not in the market for a home, but I love real estate and I love houses. And to see what other people do and the passion that they take with their own home or the creative ideas. It is spring. You're thinking about spring cleaning, you're sprucing up your house, and even backyards. That's what I was so impressed with the properties I saw. And they were so different in many ways.
Details are so important.
Details, but the outside areas, and it wasn't like that they had just such grand, great. It was just the way that they did it. They executed. It's like, I could be, on a day like this, why would you even be inside? It's out the whole philosophy, bringing the indoors out. That's exactly what they did. And people are doing that with their balconies now. The balconies are not just balconies. They're living spaces. You have a table. You have a rug. You have all that. You're like, am I in another room? You almost feel like, because you're definitely bringing the inside out. And that's what's so amazing, thinking to myself, this is a simple thing you could do. Even putting lights in a courtyard or lights in your patio, to adding something different that's not expensive. It's just the creative ideas. And I think going to open houses, also getting to know your neighborhood. If you're in a neighborhood and there's houses on the market in your neighborhood, why don't you go to them? Because you never know who's going to buy that
I
property.
always go when there's an open
And
house. I
you
want to know what's going on in my neighborhood.
I want to know what's going on, but you're going to have new neighbors, right? You're going to have new neighbors. And chances are you might meet the new neighbor when they're going to that open house as well. And you also get to know it's just great to know your surroundings. A lot of people, pull into their driveway, whether you're in a townhome, your apartment, your, single family house, but you have a tendency just to drive in your driveway or go in your garage, park, and go inside your house.
And going back to what you said about the balcony, it just shows, too, that every part of the home can be handled and presented in a special way. And that's what we want to do, not just when we're selling the home, but when we live there.
Right. No, we actually in 2014 sold our house. My husband got transferred to Baltimore, and I told him I'm not moving to Baltimore. Sorry, honey.
Good
I love
crab
you
cakes there,
very much. That's true. I'll come to visit. I love the Ravens, love the Orioles. For sports, great sports town. They're rebuilding, but we're just not going to uproot.
Baltimore.
We're not going to. We're staying in Houston. So we had to make a lot of families do what's best for our family. So we moved into an apartment that was close to where I worked and where our son goes to school. That was the best time ever. It was 1,200 square foot with 2 pets. So, but we had a blast. And we utilized every inch that we had as far as spacing. We added shelving. We did little things that we could do to be conducive to our life. But the reason I chose that apartment, people say, well, why did you pick that apartment complex? I said, because you know what? First of all, my lifestyle. We have a child. It's got to be conducive to where you have kids. Hey, it was right across the street from Post Oak Little League. Didn't have to drive. Son spends 5 days a week there. He can just walk across the street. See ya, son. Have great practice. See you when you get home. Also where you work. It was convenience. But it also inside had some amenities that we liked. Loved the pool. It was a great pool, great to go outside, and great to convenient to areas to restaurants. So when you're looking for any kind of, whatever your house is, it's where you want to be. We talked about location being it, but it's also what you can do with your means. Like I have a certain budget. Everyone has a budget. Until I win the lottery, budget is still in my vocabulary.
And that's pending, by the way.
It could happen. So it could happen. That's exactly right. So until that happens, everyone has a budget and everyone has to live within their means. So do it in a way that you can do it well. And so no matter what your space is, getting ideas for your own home, using the realtors in your area to figure out when the best time is to sell your home. Right now, inventory is low. So if you're, if you're thinking, I'm about ready, I think it's time, but then also know where you're going. I had to do that in 2014. We had to decide that. Yes, it's the best time. Inventory was super low. I knew that, of course, with the real estate background. I'm like, it's all about the price and it's all about timing. But where was I going to go, Bill? You got to have a plan. The plan was to go somewhere. I'm going to go to an apartment for a couple of years. We're going to save some money, but also where is conducive to my lifestyle. This is great. I'm downsizing, but that's okay. I have a great balcony. I have a great view. I'll never probably ever have that again. But why I had that opportunity, I was going to seize the moment with the balcony and be like, do I have a small living space? Yes. Do I care? No. Look at my view.
Enjoy where we're at, but the only thing better than going to one open house is going to several at this one time.
I love it. And I still do it on Sundays. And I will tell you a little trick. Although I love spring is a wonderful time for open houses. I always go to open houses too on rainy days because I always feel like if a house really shines on a rainy day, you can only imagine what it's like when it's sunny. It will be perfect. So the lighting, the natural light, what goes on and how you feel in that house, because let's face it, a lot of times, it's not sunny every day, and how a house feels to you makes it different when you walk in the door. So that's my little tip is I always go on rainy days.
That's a good idea.
And my husband always says, it's pouring down rain. He's like, you want to open? I say, yep I'm seeing which ones. I'm on my way.
And the interesting thing about that from the realtor's perspective, all of a sudden I'm putting myself in that place. When you're the realtor sitting there and you see one person come in, another or several, they're in their mind space where they're at is a different, and they're looking at things in a different way. So as the realtor, being mindful of everyone has a different perspective, and even though it's raining, they may be loving it.
Well, you got to know what's going on. You never know, your life might change, Bill. All of our lives changed. When Harvey hit, our lives changed. I mean, ours did. All of our lives changed. So you have to be prepared and knowing what to. What if your life changes? What if your spouse gets transferred tomorrow? What are you going to do? Do you know the value of your home? Do you know what realtor you're going to call? Do you know where you're going to close? Absolutely, Stewart Title. So, you have to have a plan in place, because I've had things where you have curveballs all the time, and you got to be ready for the curveball to make sure you hit a home run.
And before we end this segment, what else would you like people to know, Roseann?
Contact me. If I'm at all the Stewart offices. I'm the sales manager
You're
for the
so
Houston
easy
Vision.
to find. It's
so you
ridiculous.
can find me on all the social media, but you can always call the Stewart title, and they'll be sure to get in touch with me. But I office out of 2 offices: Kirby Grove, our new location.
Sometimes at once.
At once, or I'm at the corporate headquarters at 1980 Post Oak.
There you go. Go to Stewart.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Roseann Rogers, the Real Estate Buzz with Roseann Rogers. Thank you, Roseann.
Thank you, Bill, for having me.